Hello everyone, welcome to our Spring AI classes. In our previous class, we learned about a few of the AI models like Anthropic and ChatGPT OpenAI model. Today we will learn about one more model that is related to Azure AI. How we will integrate Azure AI model with Spring and how we can configure that. What is the advantage with Azure OpenAI? If you see here, Azure OpenAI, again it's a Azure OpenAI offering powered by ChatGPT. It extends beyond traditional OpenAI capabilities, delivering AI-driven text generation with enhanced functionality. Azure offers additional AI safety and responsible AI features. Azure offers Java developers the opportunity to leverage AI's full potential by integrating with any array of Azure services, which includes AI-related resources such as vector stores on Azure. Prerequisite like other AI models like Amazon Bedrock, Anthropic. What is the prerequisite for to connect with the Spring AI? First, we need to get the API key. So for that, what we have to do to access model using API key to obtain your Azure OpenAI endpoint and API key from the Azure OpenAI service section on the Azure portal. We have to go to the Azure portal. Then we need to log into the there with our details. Once we get that, we can configure in the our application properties or ML file, which we will did for other models as well. So like Spring AI, Azure OpenAI API key. Set the value of the API key obtained from the Azure portal. So this API key and endpoint specific to user, whoever user logged in. So it will give the specific key to individual user. So we can set these configuration properties, application properties or application YAML file. So the same way we can environment file we can mention and we can retrieve that. When we are using the approach, set the Spring Azure OpenAI deployment name, property name of the OpenAI model you want to. So Microsoft Entra ID for keyless authentication using Microsoft Entra ID, formerly Azure Active Directory, set only the Spring AI Azure OpenAI endpoint configuration property and not the API key property mentioned above. So OpenAI client will be there. So which model we are going to use, GPT-4o or GPT 3.5 Turbo? We can configure that while calling our through application calling the model. The same way dependency, we can add the dependency Spring AI started model Azure OpenAI in Maven as well as Gradle. The Azure OpenAI chart client is created using the OpenAI client builder provided by the Azure SDK. Spring AI allows to customize the builder by providing the Azure OpenAI client builder customizer beans. So this is how the Azure OpenAI config, duration of 5 minutes, how HTTP client options. So these are the some of the properties. The prefix spring.ai.azure.openai is the property prefix to configure the connection to Azure OpenAI. So this is the API key, this is the endpoint, this is the API key. What it will do? Non-Azure. Open API key used to authenticate with the OpenAI service instead of Azure OpenAI. This automatically sets the endpoint to use either API key or OpenAI API key property with this configuration. The deployment name is treated as a OpenAI model name. One few more properties here. Based on our requirement, we can configure these properties. Then token limits parameter model specific usage, which model requires how many tokens, how the chart response will be. See here, generate the name names of 5 famous pirates. Azure AI options builder. We are using GPT-4o, temperature 0.4. Then function calling. We can register custom Java functions with Azure OpenAI chart model and have the model intelligently choose to output a JSON object containing arguments to call one or more of the registered functions. This is a powerful technique to connect the LLM capabilities with external tools and APIs. This is functional calling. Multimodal, like MIME type, which MIME type text, images, and audio video. These are the same way which URL we are calling response. Explain what do you see in the picture. What we have, whatever the image we have given, based on that we'll get the response. Same way we have seen in other models in our previous classes. See here, what response we got. This is an image of fruit bowl with a sample design. The bowl is made create open structure. So we have given simple prompt explain what do you see on this picture. It has given elaborated response. In the previous models we got very less response, but in Azure AI model we got elaborated response. So this how the same way sample controller, after adding all these properties in application file, chart controller, how Azure OpenAI chart model we can use. We can auto-write this through constructor injection. So generate or generate stream. So manual configuration, how we can do the manual configuration through Maven or Gradle. So we can call the Azure, we can directly get key and endpoint, get the environment. Same way we can give the prompt. So this how we can configure Azure API, Azure AI keys and endpoints and work with the Spring AI and get the response based on our requirement. This about the Spring Azure AI model. In our next class, we will see how DeepSeek configuration and how we'll work with the Spring AI and integrate with the Spring AI with the DeepSeek. Thank you. Have a nice day ahead.